RAF Goggles and an RAF May West, but everything else was American, a lot. And we got on very well. We got on very well with the Australians and the Americans. But it's great. I'll never forget, I actually saw the famous Lindbergh. He came out and he talked to us about how to get more range out of the Corsair. I've forgotten how many of the boost and how many revs we're doing, but he said you change this. And even our ground crew didn't think this was right, but he was right. He was very stern, very upright, but he knew what he was talking about. And the other one I met that I always remember was Dickie Bond, and he was the Navy ace, and he was a very quiet, unassuming chap. They're all very clear. The only thing we had against the American price is that we didn't get a chance. I was late in the war. I didn't get up there until May 44. And there were the odd zero about. We never got a chance to look at it because we had to, in the Corsair, we had to do the weave over the bombers while the P-38 stood at the top and got all the glory. Rick Corwell, who shot down the 27th during the war, set an aircraft just like this. So this runs around the corner. But the big thing, you see these electric cords, they're little cords down there, elasticized cords which take the shock of landing before the days of hydraulics, and they stretch. You know what you call them? Bungee cords. Nothing new, is it? Way back to 1960. That's the SE-58. Come on, put it in. Well, we're going to look at you. Is that you there? And she looked at us. She said, "You still part your hair in the same size." It was about the only difference she could see. This was quite an interesting one. I gave them this photograph. There were 5 photographs taken of it. The war had just finished. They'd dropped the bomb. And we were waiting for the last zero to be flown up from Kahili down the south of Bungabal by a wing commander, I've forgotten his name, from Darkluta. While we were waiting, these Corsairs came in from Jacqueline Bay, and this guy crashed. As he's landing, he bumped and he got his power on too much and his torque swung him around. That's his belly tank burning back there. It was ripped off, fortunately for him. He came to a sliding hole here. They put the foam on it to save him, to protect him. This shapeless hunk here together. He called on me the other day. He's a stockbroker in Sydney. They go all around the world. This chap here, Bailey, started Bailey's Real Estate, which is the biggest real estate firm in New Zealand. Australia. That was Miles Newton King. He was the grandson of Sir Truby King who started Puckett. We sent him home. He was a spoiled boy, good pilot, but a spoiled boy. Poor old Duck Benton died after war in P-51. He lost his oxygen over Lytton Harbour, went straight in. When you look at it, all the memories come back. It's amazing.
So where are you? So which one
were
you?
Killed me twice.
Where are you in all this?
Oh, there, that chicken. I must tell you, I'll bore you with this story because poor old, he's still going strong. He stayed in the Air Force. They protected him in case any Zeros came around. Back in the day, I had just bought a camera for $100, 100 American dollars, which was quite a lot of money then. And he pat his head, so I went line and stern, and down we went, and I thought, take a photograph of both of them. Just crossed my mind. And suddenly there was an almighty splash. This is hard to believe, but it's all in the history. He hit the splash, and I went through the splash, and I pulled up, and I thought I was there. I don't know what had happened, except there were big white streaks on the windscreen. That was the salt from the sea that had hit my aircraft. So I must be about that far. And he said he went straight in and he couldn't have. He must have squashed. It was 5.5 tons of course there, and he must have squashed. He wasn't even wet. He got out on the thing when it floated and inflated his dinghy and slid off into the water. Then he rode over to the American who was sitting there and said, "Did you see my motor cut in the dive?" And the American wouldn't have said anything. He sat there for 3 days. When we got back to Babel, he said to me, you'll say that my motor cut the dive. I said, "No." There are about 6 others, but that's the only one of this particular type. Don't fly. So anyone here that doesn't fly, or not supposed to fly, put it that way, because at the last air show here, they said they would tax him, and they did. It was 4 feet up. Chap couldn't resist it. And he didn't fly. So it is an interesting aircraft. This one probably had a go at me. This came from the ball sitting down there. If they brought it back to Australia, and Tim brought it to Australia and brought it back here, and the Chaplain could job, they could last in the air for about 6 hours. Quite incredible, isn't it? See, they had no self-sealing tanks. They had no armour for the pilot, no armour for the engine. So they were pretty light. With a couple of bullets in the right place. Good job, I think. If you ever got stuck on the back, push that in, and the rope will climb up and give you a hand to get it in. It feels just the same as it did 54 By mistake, I think. When we were at Green Island, with the children in Canada or Scotland or somewhere, and then they come out and they see the Spitfire, all the hurricanes go over, and they get very excited. So just Cobbett Kane and all the famous people have made their name, and they never forget. Beautiful aircraft. The one that Tim crashed, had the Griffin. That's got the Merlin, famous Merlin engine. Tim had the Griffin engine, 5-bladed prop, and we think very easy to do. He had a bad brace on his leg up the top of New Island. It was pretty hotly defended. And this guy rang up and he said, red 1 from red 2. He said, I think I have to go back. I haven't got enough petrol. Jimmy rang back and he said, red 2 from red 1. Come and fly beside me. I've got plenty. Here's a hard thing. One has to say it was about as far as you'd ever go with propeller-driven aircraft. All the Americans made their name in that, and it really changed the face of the war in Europe. Because before that came along, the Thunderbolts and the Spitfires were taking the aircraft to Berlin and they had to turn back. So they only had about a 2.25 hour range. At 4.5 to take them the whole way. Before that, they were losing 100 B-17s a day. That's 1,000 men every day. The lucky ones in parachutes. When you think about it. And when this came, the Dumas took a long time to wake up, about 3 weeks. In that time, there were more American aces created than any other time during the war. The Hunter became the Hunted. And they got into the Focke-Wulfs and the Messerschmitts, really knocked them out of the sky. For an aircraft, it's best operating height of about 17 to 20,000 feet, above that. Below that, when the Starler was successful in the army, in Europe's army, so he was well on the way from the army, and then to do that, underneath the to protect the ground. You go all over the world, you won't see aircraft like that. You've got the old before you. Slide down. Yes. Oh no, sorry, no, it's another one. That one. If you have a look down here, see the polycarpods. These are the one that Tim uses as a means of financing a museum, apart from people like yourself coming through. He gets these in Russia, they come out here half sort of put together, and they finish it here. And he sells it to other museums. He sold quite a few so far. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. So we must accept in money with gold in blocks, no checks with stars, it was a band. Yeah. And but they did all right. They fought right through that. They fought right through the War of Liberation in 1940. Fought up in Mongolia in 1938-39, the undeclared war. Then they fought through the War of Liberation. So they must have had something. I think when you go to use it, when you just imagine you took out the whole stick with your right hand or your left hand, and you're winding 32 times to get the undercarriage up. So,
little stubbies.
However, they did. Then in 1938, for some unknown reason, they called that first one the Little Donkey, and then this one, this biplane down here, right down in front of us. Polycarpov designed that. Why they would go back to a biplane as late as 38 is anybody's knowledge. But they call this a little seagull because of that step at the top. And have a good look at it because it can do 280 miles an hour. And that is very unusual for a biplane. And it fooled a lot of Germans because they would see this whole thing floating around the sky and they go, oh, here's an easy one. And suddenly they tore on the cold and Germans started to shoot it down. They did. And they laughed it right through. They were pretty good aircraft. I don't know why they did that, it puzzled me, but it was a good aircraft. Now, when you look at that, it couldn't be much more different from a polycarbonate from a little one. It was on IR-16. But however, they did. Now, there's the old Kitty Hawk that's wing up and down. You can't see the rest, but it's hidden behind there. The Kitty Hawk, the Tomahawk, the Warhawk, Kitty Hawk, whatever you like to call it, the gradually progressed, was the only American aircraft that I know that started the war and finished. In fact, it was the war. Remember that one without an engine, that white thing with American star on it? They used that to that little black one there, on the right, belonged to Edward VIII when he was Prince of Wales. We've got the license to prove it. But that's something, isn't it? It's got the same engine as the Tiger Moth, you know, that little yellow Tiger Moth, the same machine. And yet it can take 4 people. Most unusual for a 1930s aircraft, the fact the pilot sat in a closed in canopy, which is unusual. Usually wide open to the air. He had a little window to look down, there's 2 seats faced forward, that's where the Duke and Mr. Simpson sat, and there's 1 seat facing back, and we think that's where the butler sat. So it's quite interesting. It came out in about 1932, and it came out here in 1935, and the legendary Captain Mercer flew it on the west coast. So it's probably the first aircraft that delivered mail in New Zealand. And he's in a overall suit with a big wrench in his hand, and as he passed me, he said, "Do you know anything about parachutes?" And the bloke said, "No, do you know anything about gas cookers?" You know, I think it's a new one.